Okay, let's get started.
Just raise your glasses high. This one's
Turtle time.
Well, Toy Story 5 has Bravo celebrities abuzz and hamming it up. Even Brittany Cartwright. She went to the Toy Story 5 premiere and was having the time of her life. She went into the theater and didn't even make a Bo Peep because she was so enraptured by it. Let's take a page out of Brittany's book and make Toy Story 5 the highest grossing animated film of all time. Amy, what say you to this pledge?
Toy Story 5. I'm trying to decide how I feel about this. Because am I excited to see it? No.
Right. Which makes sense.
Taylor Swift writing the song. Oscar ploy? Question mark?
Question mark received. But you just put, I'm like the Riddler. You just put a question mark on my head too. Whoa. Oscar ploy? Meaning like, oh, she, that, I don't think some stuff like this. That's
some insider thinking.
It's amazing. She's saying it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world if I got Oscar nominated song for my contribution to this franchise that I seemingly love. So you're saying, I think that, wow, I didn't even think of that. I haven't yet. I've been keeping it as a treat to myself to wait until I hear her rendition or a new rendition for the Toy Story franchise. I haven't even watched that video yet, but I hear it's got people really happy.
Are you plotting a Alamo Kids screening of that?
Yeah, I'll just say when I'm going. Father's Day,
Nice.
11:30 a.m. showing. Family-friendly screening with all of my best friends and Penny and Megan. So if you want to
Cute.
join me at the Alamo Draft House, 11:30, Father's Day. No, Megan made my dreams come true. I'm not saying I'm easy, but like she knew exactly how to get the keys to my heart. She goes, "Do you want to see Toy Story 5 at the Alamo with Penny at a family-friendly screening?" And I said, "Are you fucking kidding me?" Yes, I do. Father's Day, accomplished. So that's what I'm
Nice.
going. I loved, I forgot that Toy Story, that it had there is more complicated feelings about it when I brought this up. And I forgot about the Toy Story 3 perfect trilogy. I always forget that. I get reminded of it every time when people reference the Quentin Tarantino, the perfect 3 that he always says. He goes, 3. Yeah. He goes, 1, 2, 3. It's perfect. And he loves that end that he keeps talking about that he's only seen once, which that's kind of interesting. But he's only seen it once, but he loved it so much. I just got to say, I agree with everyone about their opinions on Toy Story. I'm just personally excited for Toy Story 5, but I get it now. And I just wanted to say, I guess that the Bravo celebrities going to this premiere kind of made me excited for some reason, but I totally understand those people that will abstain from 4 and 5 and not see them. I get it. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
totally get it.
Yeah, it's funny. I think the other night when we were together, I was telling you, sort of shouting over the mobs surrounding us watching the Summer House reunion, that I just binged the Industrial Light and Magic docu-series on Disney Plus. And it's kind of funny because it's from, they do a good job of leaving some self-critical stuff in, and like the battle between like practical and effects, like when that changeover happened, specifically during like Jurassic Park was when it was like game over because the whole movie was supposed to be practical, and then they discovered they could pull it off like when they were already in production, and then so everyone that was poised to make stop motion dinosaurs, they were like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
But it's funny because like, I mean, I don't know, this is like a great connection to Toy Story, but as far as dragging on a series, I've gotten to the season that's about the new, or like the, what do you call the sequels of Star Wars? Of course.
Or
the prequels.
Of course, I call them both. The sequels, I call those the Force Awakens, era, and then the prequels are of which the Phantom Menace and
Phantom Menace. I've gotten to that. So like I was so obsessed with the original Star Wars portion of it because they were like ragtag, like hippie art students who were like smoking weed. They're like ripping cigs. They have like mustaches. They're doing a slip and slide in the Van Nuys parking lot of ILM. Like they're figuring stuff out. They're tinkering. They're inventing new technology. They're carving models and puppets. And it's so cool. And like actual art, like just really cool. And then as time goes, then you get to the prequels and they're like, we figured out how to fire Frank Oz and animate Yoda. And I'm like, it looks like fucking shit.
No, you opened a huge a Pandora's box of which I have opinions on it as well. Because even Jurassic Park, you were saying, oh, I got a beautiful T-Rex head with glistening skin. I don't want that. Make the brontosauruses CGI, and those little leaping lizard type dinosaurs, like they look like fucking shit when you go and watch. The worst scenes in Jurassic Park are the full CGI scenes, whereas the T-Rex and shit looks fucking incredible. And so there's just an era where they went all for CGI, and now that shit has aged the worst. And it really gives you a lot of new credit to people who have not indulged in CGI for a really long time still, like Guillermo del Toro. Whatever you say about that Pinocchio film, it was all little handcrafted wooden babies. He was just making little babies and they were going like this. And I'm like, that's fucking incredible. Like it was a stop motion little puppeteering feat. And so now it's almost, that's the novelty. And it looks incredible, and it's like it has a retro feel for people who still indulge in practical effects. Now it's even more sacred when they do that. And now CGI is just the common fucking garbage that we have to deal with. I will say one caveat, though.
Yeah.
CGI animation like current Disney animation has now gotten to the point where it is so good where they can actually create beautiful art by making characteristic animation for each film. So like Hoppers, I hate to talk about Hoppers right now, but the animation style is actually really beautiful and it looks different than something like Toy Story. Like they're actually putting a little bit of a spin of how they want it. And Encanto also looks distinct and beautiful. So there are ways to still show your aesthetic and beauty in that format, but it's all the more rare now because we just have this blatant slate of garbage CGI.
Yeah, it's it's painful to see the transition because like they showed some of the stuff with like Raiders of the Lost Ark or like stuff they were doing where they made artificial clouds in a tank using like hot water and cold water, and then like they made the ghostly figures by like swaying something through the water. Like I love the ingenuity of them figuring out how to make like earthly items create the effect that they're envisioning. Like I think that's so interesting. But then there still is that like the best case scenario for when it started to advance with the computers is like combining the two, like assisting the practical with like cleaning stuff up or like doing some version where the trick of the eye is helped, and then obviously now it's just, I also think part of it, it's like I'm not against things being made by a computer. It's just I think the point was always that it was in service to a story, and we've like lost that plot.
You're so right. And when you say trick of the eye, it reminded me of that wonderful French phrase, trompe de la mode. Trompe l'oeil, which I learned from you early on in Turtle Times history. And I agree with you completely.
You gotta let that series rip. You're gonna love it. You're gonna eat it up.
I'm gonna fucking flip. And I was just thinking, you said practical with CGI elements. It reminds me of Force Awakens, where some of those puppets were now practical. Babu Frick, famously, and Baby Yoda are practical little baby puppets. But also you have to imagine that there's some CGI employed also in those films. But you're right, and thanks so much for thanks. I really I really enjoy this conversation.
It truly was a tangent, but they don't talk about because Pixar was started by ILM, but they sold it off to Steve Jobs like 30 years ago.
Once Steve Jobs got his hands on it, he was just going fucking nuts. He was a nightmare. No, but he's responsible for Toy Story 1. A beautiful film. Well, it doesn't look beautiful anymore. They need to remaster it. It looks like shit.
Well, that's the tricky thing. I mean, when they showed the Star Wars remaster of like A New Hope, how sacrilegious it is, I'm like, you have a real misunderstanding of what was charming about that movie if you think that that's what we want.
You're totally right. And I don't think and don't remaster Toy Story. I was just kidding. I was being a little bit of a stinker for God knows why, for no reason. So that's wonderful. And, and also so I think that really is a wonderful sort of segue into what we also should talk about. Speaking of things in which you honor the legacy of which, but you still incorporate new facets to make it adherent to the times we live in now. I think it's a great time to talk about the Real Housewives of Orange County trailer that just came out that filled me with as much joy as almost anything in this sort of time of need, in this sort of Bravo time of need. Every second of it I enjoyed of this trailer as it came out. I love the honoring of RH20 that they're doing, that they're really making a meal of this and honoring it. It's like New Yorker 100, where they're like, do you know what I'm talking about? Where it's like, for the entire year, it was New Yorker 100. And then now it's like RH20. And in the trailer, they specifically talk about the legacy of this franchise and have a party dedicated to it with a lot of housewives of the past. I thought that was such an interesting, great way to start this trailer off.
Yeah, I honestly, until I hit play on this morning, I frankly forgot that Vicky was a full-on center orange holder again, which was revealed to us at BravoCon, which is exciting. She's already fallen over, threatening to pee her pants. I am a little concerned about their trip to Tokyo. I don't know what Harajuku costumes are going to get her in trouble right away, but these ladies, there's something to be said about these ladies, the history. There was in the clip of the party, there was Gina Keogh, there was Tammy Knickerbocker. There was, I think, Joe. Am I wondering who else? I'm sure if I paused it, I could have seen more, but I'm like, who else is going to come through?
Oh, no. I think they're going to, I think they're going to try to honor everyone, no matter how short-lived their stint was on Real Housewives of Orange County at that party. And they were giving us a glimpse of the major heavy hitters. No, I agree with you completely. I didn't realize how impactful it is to have Vicky back, even knowing she was coming back, until I watched her moments. And like you said, so many pratfalls already that would make even someone like Buster Keaton start busting out with laughter. Falling over a basket, falling over with Shannon, Tokyo.
Can I insert something? When in that documentary, when it got to Jar Jar Binks, there's footage of George Lucas showing him Buster Keaton with the house falling over him. Like, he's like, this is the history of comedy. This is where we will begin your character's conversation.
That is incredible. And I gotta start thinking again of Jar Jar Binks and his relationship with physical comedy as well. It's a huge part of Phantom Menace. You one could argue also that Jar Jar Binks was so not well received that he doesn't
reviled. Jar Jar, not Star.
That
is the headline said.
That is exactly how a lot of people felt, to where there's a point in which Jar Jar is barely even in episode 2, and frankly, you don't even see him for more than he doesn't even have a line to say in episode 3. So
I won't spoil it for you, but it almost drove the actor to the brink. It was really bad.
And that's in the documentary as well. Oh my God, I am gonna watch this.
You got to. But Vicky Gunvalson needs no such introduction to comedy. She is the queen of the arts. I mean, Shannon should be worried because, or maybe them two combined, they bring each other to the next level with their falling over.
Yeah, and you alluded to this, but Vicky and Tokyo, there are a lot of ways in which you really don't know where it could go, but it's definitely a thought starter. The entire cast, and so they give us the classic fun legacy, beautiful. They go to Vegas, they go on the trips or whatever, and then they get into that we're going to be dealing with conflict. Of course, we knew that this was possible. There's a new cast member named Carmela, which it seems great. I mean, I don't know, from the trailer, it was okay. She kind of handed Vicky her ass in one scene. Vicky's like, I don't like new girls. And she goes, Carmela's a bitch. And I think Tamara goes, did you just say Carmela's a bitch? Like Karma's a bitch? Like they even remark on that was kind of an interesting, good line.
Yeah. Before Vicky even says, I don't like new girls, the vibe of the trailer is that she's not going to accept this woman for a second. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot that she does that without fail every single year. And she goes, Vicky, you're new too this year. And she goes, I founded this franchise.
Yeah. And then I believe Carmela says everybody has an expiration date or something like that. And they're like, holy shit, saying that right to Vicky. So she had some great moments too.
Did you find it interesting that they gave such a moment in the sun for Heather's mother? Like as if that's going to be a huge part of it?
Well, I started to squeal like a little pig that got grabbed by its tail. Because I remember how much I enjoyed her talking on the steps of Amsterdam about how like her complicated relationship with her dad. So I think that she's tying it in again. I think that she is going to talk with her mom about how when her dad passed, there was unresolved stuff.
Mhm.
And she's always kind of thought her mom was pretty harsh with her too. So I think that she's going to bring family stuff again into her arc, which I appreciate more than probably some other stuff that Heather would bring up, but I don't know how it's going to go. But that's what it called to mind instantly. I was like, oh, she's going to try to resolve things with her mom before what happens with her dad happened.
Right.
But Heather, I want to say, stick on Heather for a second. What the fuck was Heather doing that one time when she put all those diamonds on her Instagram and diamonds around
Right.
the border of her thing, saying diamonds are a girl's best friend. I can't wait for you all to see the future. And now she is just so back as a part of OC. I'll never understand what she was trying to say, but now she's a huge part of this.
Right.
She's a huge fundamental cast member of OC, and I don't think it's ever going to happen now that she's going to switch over to Beverly Hills.
I know. It is strange though. Maybe she was just teasing us, but I get a lot of clips of her and Terry. They're doing the podcast circuit all the time. And I just watched something where she said that their condo that I think is it in Century City? I think, like the tower, they now rent the place below it and they like go between because they both have private elevators, so they could just take the elevator up and down between the two. And so they're trying to buy the second one so they can like put in a staircase. And I'm like, it's so crazy how rich they are.
Yeah.
But it is interesting that they fully live in Los Angeles and she just has to schlep down there for the show.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily make sense. And I almost do think that it would be okay for them to move on to Beverly Hills and focus more on where they actually live. So I don't understand that decision. Maybe they just truly think that OC needs Heather and they don't have a spot on Beverly Hills for her. Megan was telling me that Terry was on a podcast and he said that he doesn't know how groceries are brought into his home. He said, I've never personally ever gone to a grocery store in 30 years and I do not know how food gets into my home. And I was like, could you imagine being so removed from food in your home that I was like, they are rich on another level, which I think is interesting. Like, say what you will about rich people, but I do think there's some merit to exploring elevators to downstairs penthouses that they also own and not knowing how you get food and stuff. Like, that's all interesting to me. I think I forget sometimes that they are like in that like $100 million range, so far above a lot of the other Bravo celebrities' wealth.
Yeah, the comments weren't kind to him on that one. They were like, out of touch, piece of shit.
Oh yeah, and people should say that if you think it's out of touch. No, I didn't. I wasn't saying it was good. I was just saying,
no, it's
as an example of how rich they actually are. Like, he doesn't
it
go
also
to grocery
seems
stores.
Like he I think that also the implication of the clip was that he like doesn't snack or something. Like he doesn't even like open the fridge at any point. And they were also talking about how it was a big transition from having like a mansion versus the condo high-rise lifestyle, because it's just a different thing. And but they're like, we have doormen, we have like I think they have a cabana at the pool, but I'm like, that's still not like a private, like it's a different lifestyle where normally you had all this sprawling space, which honestly is probably too much. It's kind of weird, like to have like an acre and like a 20,000 square foot house versus like a apartment in the sky.
Yeah, no, I totally understand that. It makes me think, about a lot of stuff. I'll never forget when they sold that home, their dream home, for no reason or that I could understand, except that they'll make a lot of money on it. And then now, are they still actively making that new home? And that's what she was kind of talking about with Josh Flag about, like, weren't they actively like building a new dream home?
Dropped that what turned out to be a money pit that they were always visiting. I think they just got rid of that and like sold it off and realized it wasn't worth it. So I think they're just like staying here.
Wow. Okay. All right. Well, a lot of questions for Terry and Heather. Maybe they would be great guests on Turtle Time at some point.
Oh my God, I would love to talk
Riverside.
to Terry.
That's what I thought. When you said like they're doing the podcast circuit, I was like, what the hell? Like, get him on.
I want to ask him about surgery and GLP-1s and peptides. I want to ask him everything.
Yeah, hardball, softball. You got a hardball coming at you, Heather. I'd be like, what the hell were you thinking when you did that diamond Instagram? I've been thinking about it for a year.
Yeah.
No, great. Well, maybe those will be our second and third guests on Turtle Time. So any other thoughts on this trailer, that we can unpack? I mean, one thing I just thought, well, you also think, is that there was an interesting part where Vicky was going to come in as the mediator between Shannon and Tamra. And I actually think that that's perfect, because we've had 2 years of Tamra and Shannon really fighting with no resolution. So I do kind of think it's the perfect time for Vicky to come in and maybe switch things up. And she alluded to some resolution when she posted the 3 amigas recently on Instagram. So I just wanted to highlight that as one moment I kind of like, just because I see that could be kind of fun to
watch. I mean, that's always been an important dynamic. When they did that 3-way hug at the reunion, it was iconic. It's always felt like there's been a missing piece. So happy to see them all back together again. But I didn't feel like there was anything particularly explosive in the trailer, but vibes wise, I was like, we are so back.
That's what I said too. I was like, what's his name in Clockwork Orange? Like, except in a good way, where I just laid back and I let it wash over me. And I was like, this is fucking good. And I want to remember that when we're talking about OC week by week and we go, this sucked. I'm like, that was not a good episode. It's like, OC fills me with joy and Beverly Hills fills me with joy. And you tried to keep me on the track of good, beautiful spirit as we talked about Beverly Hills, because it was sort of just thinking about it and being happy and grateful for what we have. And I need to let it be known that I need to tell myself that I experience so much joy from these franchises, not get bogged down with like talking shit week by week. I'm like, when I saw this trailer, I was like, I can't wait for this shit. I'm so excited. So I just want to retain that joy as much as
lighthearted.
Lighthearted.
Yeah.
I need to lighten my damn heart with this shit. So that's great. And then now I really have to ask you this, because I know nothing about this news story. So right after we recorded our episode from 2 days ago, we had not seen the Watch What Happens Live, where Andy was going to reveal the Bravo fan that uncovered who leaked the audio from the reunion. And I remember a month ago or 2 months ago, I was fucking dead wrong. As wrong as I've been about everything. Like my wrong to right ratio must be like 20/80 at this point, and I never let it affect me for the future, but I remember screaming that it wasn't Jennifer Lawrence and that there's no way that this fan fiction bullshit could be true.
Yeah.
And then Andy just said, like within 5 minutes or whatever of Watch What Happens Live, he was like, and guess what? The Bravo super fan who uncovered this leak was Jennifer Lawrence. And I was like, oh my God, how is this possible? So I want to hear from your mind what that felt like, because I don't care about my thoughts on it because I was so fucking wrong.
I mean, it seems so outlandish, but I mean, yeah, evidence of another rumor mill item being, born in truth. Something about it rang true to me in the back of my heart. I'm sure I could dig up whatever I said at the time where I was like, I don't know, like, it felt so specific that it felt like I was like, there has to be something here. I always like left it open to be true. I don't remember exactly how much Andy said because we were at our watch party during that episode and I kind of heard it. But from what I read online, it was like someone in Jennifer Lawrence's book club like went to college with the leaker and the leaker leaked it to their text thread or something, which I'm like, I mean, I'm like scared to send a racy TikTok to someone. Like, I'm like, is this going to leak that I like enjoyed this video? Like, let alone like the most fragile 911 illicit illegal content imaginable. I'm like, you're just texting college friends, like kind of crazy. And then little did they know that the Oscar winner would get her mitts on it and send it to Andy Cohen.
Okay, that makes so much more sense than what I was envisioning. I was envisioning Jennifer Lawrence being tapped into the matrix of Bravo and deep digging on like Reddit and forums and shit like that. That makes so much more sense that it was like a connection or a friend of a friend for how this was revealed. But yeah, I'm going to shut my damn mouth about rumors. I think that 95% of every rumor that you and I have read in the last 6 months has proven to be true. And like I said earlier this week, I've now seen how Bravo celebrities react to those rumor sites in their own lives, who know much better than me. So I'm like,
the whisper mill.
I need to just, I'm like, sit back and let it rip. Jennifer Lawrence, like, I'm just going to believe almost everything from now on. So congrats to Jennifer Lawrence.
I know. Have her on. I mean, I don't know if she has anything coming up. She already did her, like, what was the last thing? The Die My Love press tour. I'm like, we need to get her back on the circuit. She took her break. I think it was warranted and appreciated. I'm happy to have her back.
That movie died, my love.
Major. I mean, it was very dark.
Yeah, I wasn't, and sometimes I say stuff to just ingest, and I didn't mean anything by that. And I think I would like that movie, and I love Jennifer Lawrence. I was trying to.
A Lynn Ramsey movie has ever made more than like $5 million because they're all very upsetting.
And I love Lynn Ramsey, and I wasn't even making a joke about her. I meant that. I remembered hearing about that movie, and then for a while, there was a little bit of an absence of it in my life. Great. Well, Jennifer Lawrence. Oh, she made that No Hard Feelings movie, which I loved.
Yeah.
I was laughing again. I had friends over, and we put on No Hard Feelings, and I was nudging them, going, "I'm laughing. This is funny.
Comedy at full frontal for comedy's sake."
Full frontal. I was laughing. And I don't. Whatever happened to that actor who I thought was really funny in it too?
Something Matthew Bart Feldman or something. He's like a Broadway guy.
Yeah, I like Jennifer Lawrence. Don't tell. I mean, if I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. But I've always liked Jennifer Lawrence. I think she's funny, and I like her career. But tell me I'm wrong if you want.
No, I think she should be back in the clubhouse. And then I know that we're gonna talk. We probably normally would have said this first thing, but the OC trailer dropped hot and fresh. When we talked about Summer House last week, we did not yet know, they did not share with us in the screener that it would end with an announcement of a Aftermath Part 4 bonus episode. So we didn't talk about it because we didn't know. So now we have to grapple with that. We thought we were out of the woods. We thought we could lay this to rest and move on and walk into the sea. No, we must revisit. It's a new format. It's, I believe, Kyle and West on a couch, Lindsay and Amanda on a couch, and Sierra and Miha on a couch, all separately. We knew that West and Kyle talked, but we didn't know what it was for, which I think we did talk about last week. We thought maybe it would be for in the city. They would plug it in somewhere, but I guess it was for this. But I wonder if they'll siphon off any of it for, I guess that would be weird. They probably won't. It would probably be standalone.
Siphon, squeeze a few drops. Squeeze a few drops out in the city so that we're always referencing this conversation. I now thought that they found a home for that conversation, but I would have never in a million years have thought it would have been a part of Summer House because this is unprecedented. I felt like there was sort of a little bit of a feeling of lackluster energy towards the end of that finale when they were editing it and they decided to do something unprecedented by giving us the sort of 3 weeks after pick up cameras and go for it. And every single scene that they show, I'm so interested in because I felt personally that there was not a lot of resolution at the end of the reunion and not a lot of questions answered. So I'm so excited that they're doing this. But this screener that we watched, it cut to black. Like Andy goes, and now I'm going to eat this Girl Scout cookie. And then he looked right at the camera and then it cut to black. And Megan and I were like, oh, Megan doesn't watch screeners. I was like, I was like, holy shit. That was it was already like the energy was zapped. And then that was a really quick edit. And then all of a sudden, Bravo was tweeting like, you didn't see everything yet. There's a huge thing. And I was like, them eating those cookies? It said stay till the end. And I was like, eating cookies? Like I loved when they were eating Kyle's favorite treat.
Yeah.
But
my people kept asking me, they're like, you already watched it, didn't you? What can we expect? I was like, there's nothing in the quote end of the episode that would warrant a tease like this. Like there's nothing. So it definitely, they sliced it right at the second before they put the next week thing. So yeah, I agree. I think that they realized that in that format, Amanda and West didn't express maybe details that one-on-one. I think I even said that last week. I was like, what would they say if they were alone? Like without the fire around them. But normally something like this would be maybe after the show finale, before the reunion, like the, like Paige and Craig breakup pickup or the Lindsay Carl pickup. Like they've done little stuff where they like have a pickup at the end, or even for Scandival, they had those one-on-ones with Andy at the beginning of the reunion where he talked to Raquel and talked to Sandoval and maybe Ariana, like just one-on-one as like a pre-vibe check because they knew how fucked it was going to be once they were in the Gladiators forum. So it's interesting that they did the whole entire reunion and then we get this addendum. But yeah, I'm interested to compare like if their story, I mean, there's judging even by the preview, West's story changes about his feelings for Amanda and when they began.
He says, Kyle, he goes, you have no clue how long I've loved Amanda. And Kyle goes, what the hell? I'm just stunned. I just feel like I never know what Bravo is going to do now. And they really do reward fans, no matter what you think of this or how much ire you have towards the possibility of this happening. I just have to just be floored by what Bravo can give us sometimes. Like those one-on-one things you were talking about, one-on-one with Karen on Potomac, like they really don't mind just like switching up the format every once in a while to accommodate a huge thing. And I love that I was actually surprised. Like we were stunned and we talk about fucking Bravo all the time. And it's like the idea of an extra episode, regardless of how horrible it is for me to talk about it. It's just, it is, I do think that everyone will benefit from seeing this and hearing, no matter even if you hate everything that Wes and Amanda say, I think that what they say to Lindsay in a one-on-one and what he says to a Kyle in one-on-one will be so much better and more articulate than when they were at the reunion in that kind of, different environment. So I'm very excited to talk about it. And like a lot of people pointed out, I was on beta blockers 2 days ago. I'm gonna let my full emotions be expressed when I watch this one, and it'll be a lot better commentary on the aftermath.
Yeah, and like I keep saying this, I'm like truly shocked in my own soul that I am entertained at the idea of Lindsay Hubbard suiting up for this, and like Kyle, like we always say, like Kyle and Lindsay are like de facto producers all the time. Like they're starting conversations, they're pulling people aside, they're saying, Andy, let's take 5. They're operating on a different level. So I think it's kind of funny that they get to put their like Dateline or like their 60 Minutes hat on and be like, now what's the truth?
No,
and
totally.
So I think it's going to be really good. I didn't go back and watch the unfiltered version. I just didn't really want to watch the reunion again. I was like, we talked about it already. I don't want to watch it, but I've gotten a lot of clips. Obviously, there was that big thing about Jesse recently having a friend sleep with his ex. And so he was very emotional about the idea of that. And he knows how hurtful it is. But other than that, I heard that Amanda said that she didn't watch the end of the season because she would find it too upsetting, which I'm like, if I were the producer, I'd be like, you better fucking watch it before these pickups because we need to talk about what everyone else saw and you need to comment on it. Like, that's your job.
Yeah. I think that we've gotten to the point now where we've seen this enough from Bravo celebrities who say they don't watch the actual show, and I do think now it's at the point where it does need to be sort of a bigger deal that every Bravo celebrity has to watch. And like I've sort of given a pass to like Craig, when he said this, Jax, I didn't give him a pass, but I was just like, it's just taken for granted that Jax has no fucking clue what Andy is ever talking about at the reunions. And I'm like, at a certain point, you do just have to know, even if you have to scrub through and watch only your scenes, like it could have been a detriment to Amanda. And I'm not saying it is, and I'm not defending Amanda, but if she hadn't seen how wonderful she was treated by all of her beautiful friends around her, then you have an emotional disconnect that's now reading as completely callous. And I'm not saying that she is not completely callous. I'm just saying, like, what if that was the rationale for why she doesn't even know what the hell was going on at the end? So like everyone should watch the show so that they can comment on it accurately. And let me lump in other people. So I'm not just talking about this. It's like Craig said that at last season's reunion, and it was like, what the hell are you talking about? Just watch it. Like,
yeah,
like take 10 hours of your day, scrub through on 1.25 and watch it so you know what the hell you're talking about.
Yeah. Didn't Sheena say she only watches her own scenes?
Yeah. And it's like, that's frustrating too. Because what about the times when maybe somebody was talking shit about you, Sheena, and you want to call them out for talking behind your back? Like, it doesn't make sense to only comment on your own solo scenes. Like
It's unprofessional.
Yeah, so let's just say it. I think that I've given a lot of allowances for people in the past who have said this, and I think it just you need to be reacting to what the viewers see, and the viewers see this. And so now you need to comment on that as well and not rely on your memory and sort of not know what other cast members have said. I didn't know that was like one of the revelations. I saw it like commented, but I didn't know where that was coming from. So again, like I should be watching the extendeds or something.
I know. It's really annoying. I wish that they just gave us that to watch, because it's really interesting. And sometimes it's shocking the details that they save for that like the Jesse thing. I was like, that was like kind of like a key to, they cut to him crying the whole episode. And it's like, they just cut the reason, like one of the main reasons why. And I'm like, that was very relevant context, but I guess they're just probably honestly, most people, I might be wrong, but I think like a large number of people watch it on Peacock. anyway, but it comes out later, and the night of numbers for this have been big because people want to see it immediately. But it's interesting. It's like a business model, I guess.
Yeah, no, and I don't blame them. And it's just that you and I want to be very topical when we release, so we don't get a chance to engage with some. I mean, almost everything at reunions is interesting and relevant. So to have pieces of it not be, entered into evidence for us is kind of not a great position to be in. But then we kind of all unpack them together. And yeah, obviously, I think it's notable and relevant that Jesse just had in the last months or so this situation happened to him, and so he's devastated by it. He didn't need any extra justification, I guess, to be upset, but it really helps me because I want to know everything about it. And then that happened to Jesse. So good to unpack those things after, and we've got a lot more to unpack when we watch this aftermath special. But now you and I need to unpack something else. I want to do a full-blown roadway on this one and unpack some shit about the Valley episode that aired this week. Liked and loaded. As I say that title, I search deep within myself to understand. Oh, okay. James Bond, locked and loaded, and then someone liked something, I'm sure, but it doesn't matter what that title means. But I just thought I would think about it for a second. But I have to tell you live, you're gonna be stunned. I loved the last 20 minutes of this episode. I think there's some filler. I think there's some not fun stuff. I think there's some cast members that aren't fun to watch. But I enjoyed Tom Schwartz's 007 party. It was actually a lot more happened at it than I could have ever imagined. And it was almost a full-blown redo of the shittiest James Bond party we've ever seen in our lives. I mean, this one would have Daniel Craig barfing, the one that we saw in season 9. Yeah. And so Tom Schwartz got to have another one now, and it was much better.
It's shocking. We, as you probably know at this point, are recapping Vanderpump Rules from the very beginning. We're on season 9. We literally just 1 week ago talked about a shitty ass, just after COVID James Bond party that Schwartz did Schwartz throw it at their house, or was it at Tom and Ariana? I think it was at Tom and Ariana's house, but
Jeremiah threw it, but yeah, it was at I don't even remember the justification. It is one of the worst scenes in Vanderpump Rules.
It was
history.
Called Man of Mystery Party, and it was pure shit.
But yes, so it was remarkable how bad it was, and our Villa Rosa VIPs will know. We just talked about this, but I was glad that Tom Schwartz got a redo, and I was glad that, for me, the sign that a party was effective is if it is half of the episode. And so that was sort of a good sign for me, and a lot of relevant drama comes up, and I have to say this now before I forget that I was so wrong about Lala's presence on the Valley when we started, and also Schwartz's presence. We have clips that have gone out, and I feel like when we first started talking about them, the first 2 episodes, they were so clearly designated as friend ofs, and we're not giving shit. And I don't know what happened, but they started to make both of them much more of the focal point of this season, and now Tom Schwartz and Lala are having scenes together. And so I'm just saying that for me, it's like watching In the City now, where I just want to see Kyle and Amanda and Lindsay. Now I'm so pleased to see Tom Schwartz and Lala have solo scenes and have him have a party at his house with Bert dressed like a fucking Bond villain. I'm like, are you kidding? I love this shit. So I want to take back what I said. I love Lala and Schwartz on the Valley, and I'm proud of them for their performance on this show.
I'll take Schwartz as long as it comes with at least one triplet.
Yes.
Yeah, he I think we can assume that the jacket that Bert was wearing was Schwartz's, and that's why he was dwarfed in it, and it was 10 sizes too big, and he looked like a little tiny man.
I thought he was dressing up like the Bond villain Big Jacket Man from Thunderball. But no, I think you're probably right. But he came out, and I loved the look on his face.
Does
he was
he live
so
there?
cute. Yes, of course. Of course, in episode 1
why haven't we gotten more?
I know that's what I'm saying. Tom Schwartz is popping his little head out like a groundhog in Hoppers. It's great. Bert has been living in his one of his bedrooms this entire time because he was there in the first episode when Schwartz goes, "It's so good to have you here, Bert." We're just not seeing enough of Tom Schwartz. For me, who loves Vanderpump Rules more than anybody in the world, it's fun for me to see Tom Schwartz's apartment now. I still get a thrill from continuing on the journey of Tom Schwartz on this show, which is what this show was pitched as.
Yes. So more to come because, yeah, this is probably the meatiest, besides the like fake dating shit. This is at least he's hosting. But we start out with Brittany still healing from surgery. We get to see her cat, Lola Pearl. I was excited about that one. Also, at one point, I think her dogs were eating like potato chips off of a paper towel on the floor, and I was a little concerned.
A lot of unruly dogs this episode. I love them, but Tom Schwartz let his one eat a bunch of charcuterie stuff off the top of the counter, and
Butters.
then this one, I couldn't believe Janet unfurls that bag of spaghetti and lets the dogs and Lola Pearl go nuts on it. I was like, what the hell's going on? I love it, but what does Lola Pearl mean?
I don't know if it's a reference to something. I thought it was a cute. I love
Me
the
too.
like a twofer name.
Lola
The sort of
Pearl.
southern vibes. But yeah, she
I
was a
love it.
cute little calico girl. I laughed when Janet unveiled the bag of spaghetti because there's a meme going around about testing different ballparks' spaghetti policies on whether or not you can bring a Ziploc bag of spaghetti. And I have told my friends that I would like to test the Dodger Stadium spaghetti policy. And so when Janet was like, sorry, I didn't have Tupperware, so it's a bag of spaghetti. And then not only that, Brittany, within 1 second, like the next shot, she's like housing a bowl of spaghetti. I was like, oh, she like really like needed that spaghetti.
Oh, she wanted it too. And it's reflective of Nia's shitty fucking train off the tracks meal train.
Yeah.
That Janet has to show up with spaghetti in a bag for Brittany. And she goes, fuck. Brittany's like, I haven't eaten in days because of Nia's shitty meal train. Thanks so much. I don't care if you put it in a bag, from bag to bowl. Immediately. So that was great. And then Brittany says Brandon sucks.
Yeah. He keeps just not showing up. She's like, I thought you took work off to help me. He's like, shit's changed. I'm still not going to work, but I'm not coming to your house.
It's bad. The train is off the tracks off their relationship, and then also Nia's meal train. So Brittany hasn't been able to have care in a while. And it just gets worse for Brandon. There's probably never been a bigger flame out than Brandon's short appearance on the Valley, but it so quickly went bad to where I think this episode is the end of their relationship completely. So that was short lived, and he's not showing up, and we learn that he might be talking to other people as well later.
Yeah, they barely even needed to introduce him. But so Brittany, it comes later, but it's revealed that she asked Janet to unfollow him. And I was like, this is like some like down and dirty shit. Like Brittany's up to like shenanigans.
Yeah, I thought about that too. I don't like engage in Instagram that way, so I never know what it means to people, like what people do in situations in terms of like unfollowing and stuff. But I was surprised that like Brittany sent out the what's that called, the alert to everyone to be like, unfollow him now. I need him to know that all of my friends are unfollowing him. Like that's just not something that I've ever engaged in, so I was kind of surprised that that's like what happens when a fallout happens.
I'm like, do they even know him? Like, haven't they met him like twice? Unless the only thing I can imagine is if it was something about if he was sort of becoming a fame whore or something. I can imagine being like, he wants to be in the mix with the cast of The Valley, so unfollow him so he doesn't think he's like part of this. Like that's a pettiness I can understand. But if it's like I am not dealing with him anymore, so all of you have to unfollow him, it's kind of like, gives a shit. He probably posts like the worst Instagrams alive. I'd be like, yeah, I never followed him in the first place. Like,
yeah, it's like, I was obeying your last order. Follow him. 3 weeks
Right.
ago. I would have never followed that guy, and then now I'm unfollowing. I was also surprised,
Yeah.
of the unfollow for that. But yeah, so I mean that shows you how bad it is. Unfollowing, not
Yeah.
not good
Well,
between them.
she's really paying attention on Instagram because she starts a little drama here where she goes, I still haven't heard from Danny or Nia about my surgery. Like they haven't reached out to me. And she goes, they commented on Instagram, but they haven't reached out to me personally, which I think is an interesting distinction to make. Lala says it's because they only care about optics and they're doing everything for public consumption, which is one way to look at it. I more think it probably means that's the level of friendship you have. Like, I would probably, there's a lot of people where I would maybe send condolences or support on an Instagram comment, but I wouldn't text them directly just based on how close of friends we are. And then there are certain people where I'd be like, I would, of course, if I found out through Instagram, would then reach out directly, depending on how close we were. But I would,
Yeah.
for most, probably like 90% of people I know, I would consider the job done on Instagram.
Me too. I wipe my hands of this. I said so happy for you. I say I liked it. That conveys my sympathy. No, well, so I agree. I agree with you about that too, and even about the meal train as they get into it. I'm like, it's sort of, in my opinion, I don't care either way, and I'm not defending anyone, but I'm just saying, like, I thought that the complaints about Janet not being a part of the meal train, which they're about to bring up, I was like, I don't know. Like, Nia did drop the ball. Like, she says, like, oh, I fucked up the meal train. I'm so sorry. But I don't know if she specifically needed to loop Janet into a thread that she wasn't already in and, like, go out of her way when anyone else could have sent the link. And I'm sure Nia even expressed, like, send this to whoever. It's like not a...
Right.
She's not like, it's not something you hold on to. It's a charity in which anyone...
Right.
So the evidence is not so strong. But I find it more interesting that I think Brittany is finally ready to, like, declare war on Danny and Nia. And I'm like, if you hate them, which you might, like, go all out. If she really was pissed. She was really pissed when she called out Danny drinking and Nia was taken aback. And I feel like Brittany doesn't get mad. She does. She gets mad, but I'm just saying she doesn't, like, really declare enemies very often, and she's so typically the mediator that I'm kind of, like, ready for it. Like, what did Danny and Nia do to truly piss you off? Go for it. But I'm not ready to go with her in terms of her evidence and declare that, like, Nia was so shitty with these actions. But so happy for you, though. Like, I don't know, no exclamation point, no period, no heart, just so happy for
no
you.
emoji. It feels like this is a bit of a nitpick argument, but hey, why not?
I'll take it. No, it's a total why not? And then and then Brittany says what I said, which is, like, she was like, I'm going through so much horrible shit last season. And she goes, and I can't comment on Danny being drunk for one night. And I didn't remember that she said that. But now with the new evidence about Danny and his drinking, that hits a lot harder than it originally did. That Brittany said that about him when he fell asleep in the bed that one night.
Right. Yeah. I remember at the time, because the evidence hadn't fully mounted, but we were like, who cares? He, like, got drunk and fell asleep. Like, we've got bigger problems than that. But there was more brewing. Now we go to the farmer's market at the Grove. Jesse and Lacey, Luke and Kristen. Kristen is on a first name basis with the Pickle guy there, which it did make me want to go get a Pickle flight. The farmer's market is so great. I have now realized it really isn't that hard for me to get to the Grove. It's like 20 minutes. And I'm like, so now when I'm plotting my AMC treks, I'm like, it's kind of the same amount of time for me to get to Burbank as the Grove. And I'm like, I should just be popping to the Grove sometimes.
Oh, you totally should. Some of the best times of my life have happened at the Grove. I can remember 3 or 4 times where I've had the best time of my life there. It is so beautiful. The Grove at Christmas time. Megan and I went there one time just for, I don't know why, to return something, and everyone was treating us so well. We were getting like free samples from everyone. I got a free pickle. The fountains were blowing up. Cher's Christmas song was playing. I'm like, the Grove is so fun. And I specifically love that farmer's market too. Tommy Pickles, the head of this pickle organization, and Kristen gives me another reason to love her. Total picklehead, which I am one. You are, you said, right?
Yeah. Did you dock Lacey for being a pickle hater?
I hated it. I go, Lacey, I loved you. I loved you for 3 episodes. Now I hate you for not liking pickles. No, I pickles are the total. It's a pickle in terms of if people are going to like them or love them. I can totally understand in a world in which someone doesn't enjoy a pickle because they're, you know what I mean?
Do you get those fat ass pickles when you go to Disneyland?
I could be eating a big jar of those fat-ass pickles right now. I got a pickle at Disneyland the last time I went with my wonderful friends. The guy goes, "Can I buy you anything, my friend?" The tour guide, because I've told you, I was spoiled rotten on this beautiful trip with our friend that you know. And he goes, "Can I get you anything?" And I go, "Is it true that I could have a spicy pickle?" And he goes, "Yes, my dear boy. Take as many as you'd like." And so I ate a big pickle right before I went on the Pinocchio ride.
Ugh. Yeah, I always get them like right by Indiana Jones. Such a treat. It's like the best thing ever. It's like guilt-free.
It's
not that I care, but like it's like 0 calories.
I don't care either, but it's definitely guilt-free. I think I think you just eat them and they're like drinking water, oily vinegar water, basically with a crunch. That taste.
My mouth is watering.
It's an acquired taste, but I definitely wanted to go to this pickle store that they went to. I'm glad that they put a spotlight on it. I'm like, I might go take a little peek. And Jesse, Lacey, Kristen, and Luke. What I was surprised is that Lacey, first of all, Lacey. I mean, come on. The Valley was not good for 3 episodes, and then Lacey pops her head out, and then I'm starting to say episodes are kind of good. It's due to Lacey kind of adding, to the cast with her energy. And I was surprised to know that she loves Kristen and Luke so much. I didn't really realize that Kristen and Lacey love each other, and they post Instagrams with each other as of last night to promote this episode. And she's like, I want to hold their baby and give it a bunch of kisses. So knowing that like there's established friendships now among the cast, it adds more of the realness of this friend group, that Lacey kind of has actual friends here, and she's not just meeting everybody for the first time.
Right. And she has certain lines in the sand. You find out that she loves Danny. She's like, he's the best communicator, the best parent. And Jesse's like, yeah, I agree, but you haven't been a party to dark side Danny. And she goes, I've been a party to dark side everybody else. Dark side Brittany, dark side Michelle. When they screamed at me at Yamashiro, she goes, I'm not still yapping about that 2 years later or year later, whatever. And they show the like unseen chaos footage of Michelle at Yamashiro on the hilltop going, fuck you.
No, totally. Yamashiro. The fact that they couldn't use that footage after the worst finale party in history in season 2, and that they actually had that on their hands, but the NDA was too strong for them to use it was, I'm so glad though that they've incorporated it, this season.
Right.
But Lacey, I was like, be careful. Love Danny, no pickles. Like, no pickles and love Danny? Like, what are we doing here? But I still enjoy her as a cast member. But I was like, I was also surprised that she really loves Danny and Nia. These alliances that I didn't know existed are starting to come out.
Yeah, she's like, their shit at Yamashiro was way worse than Danny just being like annoying and belligerent. And I was like, well, I don't know about that. But I mean, it was pointed at you, but Danny, everyone agrees, is a stinker.
Lacey, you'll find some reason to find Darkside Drunko disagreeable at some point. Like, wait till he's aimed at you. You can see a world in which Danny is not fun as a drunk. I'm sure when she sees him on this Mexico trip, she's going to be like, this guy is fucking annoying. What was I talking about? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's like, it's coming for you.
Yes. And then Kristen, because they get into whether or not Brittany was part of the plot to take Danny down. And Kristen's like, it reeks of Jax. It was all Jax. And she was just, a victim to his rampage. And she's like, I think Brittany just thinks Danny's annoying at worst. And that Janet is a bug in her ear trying to make this a thing, which is probably true. But it does seem like Brittany is starting to go down that path.
Yeah. I like that phrase, it reeks of Jax. There's just something about it.
It really does.
It reeks of Jax. And Jesse, shame on you. You told Danny that it was clearly Brittany Grimwald Wormtongue in Jax's ear, coaxing him to do his worst. And then Jesse goes, I think that's probably the case because they were in a relationship then. He has no evidence to support it.
Yeah.
I thought it was so matter of fact that Brittany was in on it. And now he's like, yeah, I have nothing to back that up at all. I just think it's possible. So that's kind of over now.
It's weak. He also, the last thing in this episode, he starts a really weak, he sets out on the weakest rampage ever. And it's just immediately, he's like, never mind.
Oh, that was really bad. I was like, Jesse, come on. I find you entertaining as hell. I was like, what are you doing with this Michelle sit down? That was very
so
bad.
Lame.
Very bad. And it almost sullied one of the best scenes of this season. And him and Michelle's sort of beautiful acknowledgement of their relationship while also getting divorced. Okay, how much do you want to say about Zach and Jasmine? I'm sure you loved the scene, but how much do you want to...
No, it was cute, but I think we can break it down to essentially they go for drinks. She asks him to be part of her wedding. He goes, am I the maid of honor? And she goes, I'm not having any bridesmaids or maids of honor, period. And he's like, okay, well, it sounds like he essentially is doing the duty of that position, but she's not calling it that.
Yeah, I thought that's what it was. It was a little awkward for a second. I've noticed that these exchanges are always awkward when they're had, especially on Summer House. It's like when somebody expects that there's going to be some position for them at the wedding, and then it's not what they thought. Obviously, Flower Boy is the biggest example. Right. That seemed to be what was happening, but I think you're right. No, he is designated as functioning as that, but just not maid of honor. So he's still honored. It was wonderful. Yes. And then he also talks about his timeline with Benji. And it's a little sad for them because the H-1B visas have gotten much more complicated. There's now this enormous fee or something attached to it. So it's kind of putting a horrible wrinkle in their plans for the future, to have to deal with.
Yeah,
this.
I think you have to have some sort of a gold card with our president's face on it to bypass this process. So I'm not totally exactly clear on what Benji's position is, but it sounds like the easiest way to get around this would be to get married, but they're not sure if they're ready yet, I think is what he was basically saying. And the kids' conversation Zach isn't ready for, so feels like the timeline is being pushed shorter because of this stressful new limitation. So that sucks. We get Zach is just doing his rounds. He meets up with Danny at this I don't know what the fuck this was for. It was they go to a shop, a boutique, because Danny wants to buy Nia something for their 10-year anniversary. He already got her something diamond oriented, but he wants to get her something else, and he ends up buying just an amethyst crystal rock. And they're just going around the boutique making jokes about items in the store, lotion that's called hand job, and he's like, I'm gonna need this after my vasectomy. And so then they talk about that. It basically just is a reason for them to talk about, one, his vasectomy, two, that Nia's going to be gone during his vasectomy because she's judging Miss USA, and that they want to have a boys' trip, which I think ends up being just a group trip to Mexico, which is next week.
Yeah. Yeah. And we don't want to undercut some of these jokes at the shop. Obviously, I was laughing when he put that amethyst in his hand and started flexing his muscles for a while. And then obviously hand job being lotion, him implying that he's going to have to jerk off a lot after his vasectomy to get all of the viable sperm out of his body for 35 times. I thought that was very funny. But no, I couldn't escape the fact that this was in order for them to talk about doing a cast trip. And they, no need to fool me about what is happening here. They're like, even Janet and Jason might come. And it's like, yes, I think that is very clear that the entire cast will be going on this big trip together. Thank you both so much. The Ball brothers are kind of an overrated duo. Can I please say, I'm not sure I know the deep, strong friendship that is running through them all. They don't seem to have similar humor or like each other very much. It's a nightmare.
I'm like, Zach, why do you have to hang out with him? This sucks. But then they also shoehorn in, he wants to, I think they're talking about Schwartz's party, and he's like, I think it's going to be more of like an alcohol vibe. And he goes, at my party, you didn't drink, right? And he goes, right. And I was like, there was something really weird about it where I was like, is Zach trying to gotcha him right now, like on purpose?
I think a little bit. I think it could have been setting a little seed for him to know that Danny did in fact drink. Because I think he saw him. Like, it wasn't that hard to see someone in your kitchen pouring rum or whatever in a cup. So I think Zach kind of knew, but wanted to see if Danny was still in his hiding persona of drinking, and he got to bust Danny's ass. And I'm like, Danny, I think you've been told already that this is the worst route to go in. The hiding is, Schwartz told you, it's coming up later, but Schwartz told you, don't lie about your drinking. Don't hide it. It makes it worse for people who think you have an unhealthy relationship with alcohol. So he says that, and Zach can bust his ass later when he finds out. That was just sitting there for him. Right. He planted a mine for himself, and he's going to blow up on it.
Right. But spoiler, he does have a James Bond martini at Schwartz's apartment. So he was just like, fuck it, I'm drinking here.
Yeah, he was fucking because Schwartz laid out the red carpet for drinking. He goes, I want you to drink like a fish at my party. Okay, Lala and Tom. This is when I was just like, my eyes were rolling back in my head. I was starting to experience joy. I love these two people. I've loved them for so long. Them having their own special scene was beautiful to me. Lala coming to his house and looking at his furniture and saying, like, he's like, it looks like shit. And it's like, it doesn't look like shit. I think his house looks nice and it's fine. What did you think?
Yeah, they sort of, when they, between this scene and later, they peek over to Jax's patio, and they're like, Jax has more going on his patio, because apparently he stole all of Brittany's Hooters shit, and he had like Hooters bar stools and stuff. It's funny because I think Schwartz feels he should be further along and like more of an adult, because like we talked about at the last James Bond party through to this one, it still is giving sort of dorm party. And like when Lacey and Jesse come through, they're like, I would have had like butlers with like tray pass champagne. I would have had a valet. I would have had whatever, because it's like Bond equal. It's like having like a Monte Carlo party or something. It's like the idea is that it would be like luxury, and his was like red Solo Cup vibes, which is fine. It's like, snobbery to say otherwise, but I always am joking on Patreon when we talk about Vanderpump Rules that they prematurely got these $2 million houses, and every party they throw looks like a college party, even though the houses are like very nice and like adult-like, and the parties they're throwing are pure shit with like beer bongs and stuff. And this felt like an extension of that. Like he hasn't still grown past that phase.
Oh yeah, and I'll give you that, and I concur. I had kind of a low bar, I guess, already for imagining what it was, so I felt like he did a decent job as being a host in his place, but obviously he couldn't create the Jesse and Lacey dream of tray passing and all that kind of shit. But I was kind of just like, I felt like it was a step up from the last one we watched, and the best he could do under the circumstances to try to make this fun by making everybody dress. He got a lot of food. I don't know what the hell else he did, but I guess I had low expectations. That's what I just have to say. And Kiana wrote a cute cute, sweet little note on the fridge that said, "I love you, my dear," with lips on it, signed Kiana. And Lala goes, "Damn, it's I love you territory with you and Kiana." And he is blasted to space when he talks about Kiana. He is like, "Yes, it's I love you. Yes, this is the future. We love everything about each other." And I'm saying it. This is the one for Schwartz. It truly is. I'm expecting in 6 months to a year some announcement that they're still in a relationship and that they love each other. So
I hope for his sake you're right. But yeah, Lala's like, I ship them, or whatever the kids are saying. And what was he saying? He was like, they talk about Jax, or he talks about he says something about going out. I think he was saying me and Danny and Jesse went out to a place near Jax's former bar. And Lala's like, look at you guys building bars and making them go out of business. And I'm like, yeah, there's like almost going to be none left.
I know. I mean, if Tom bites the dust, we've just got Sir and Something About Her, which are wonderful. I mean, of course, they're wonderful, but no, yeah. I mean, Jax's and Schwartz and Sandy's biting the dust. And Tom now is pretty wild. And I don't even think we knew Tom. I don't think Lala didn't even know Tom. That's now
right.
A new fact of a bar going extinct. So yeah, that was a bummer. I have to ask you now, like Jax being out of town was probably good for a lot of reasons, because I really cannot imagine what Jax would have done had he been there and seen the former cast of his show all having a party at Schwartz's house. Like, it's definitely for the best. He would have been banging on the walls. He would have been looking through the people. He would have been on his patio having a rival party with whoever those fun friends he had in season 2. I didn't think about the idea that he was gone until Schwartz said it. And then my brain was a buzz thinking about all of the things that he would have done.
Yeah, I didn't even realize, because he no longer lives there currently. He moved out, I believe.
I was confused too. I was like, I saw the roadway ad right before I was blocked. That was the last thing I saw. And I was like, he's out of this place. But no, in this time, they talk about it enough to where he's still living wall to wall with Schwartz. But the Jax I know would have been so compelled to do something. He couldn't even keep himself from not giving back the stepbrother's sword to Sandoval in season 9 when he wasn't on the cast. So I couldn't even imagine, if he was this close to production, what he would have done.
It was almost like chilling. I was quickly going through my mind about the legality of, I was like, I guess if it's in sight, they're allowed to record his patio, but I was like, that's a little bit of like a gray area, don't you think?
I thought so too. I even thought that the camera people were like, should I be filming this Hooters owl statue? Like we're seeing access to a person who's not a cast member, what's on their patio and stuff. Like, they're adding Jax lore right now to this. I thought that before I realized that Jax was out of town, I thought that Jax was making people have to move their cars, and that Jesse had to move his Aston Martin because Jax was beeping his horn saying, "Get the fuck out of my driveway," or something. I was just imagining all these scenarios. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it means to capture the sort of fly on the wall footage of a former cast member like this. But they were talking about a lot. Zach's like, I'm going to take a shit on his patio.
Yeah, Brittany's like, it's giving me the heebie-jeebies, because she's never been there before. She's never even seen it except for videos to approve crews going over there. So she didn't really want to be there in general, because, yeah, I mean, it would be a little scary, because you don't know if he's going to just come home and be like, what the fuck is this? You know?
He'd be talking Jeremiah's ear off. Like, I know him. I'm blocked, but he's not blocked from my mind. And I know he'd be like, Jeremiah, is the season shit without me? Come on. You know it is. So I know he couldn't have contained himself. It was good that he was out of town. But we have to finish the last parts of this. It's about Danny's drinking. Lala is kind of wondering why Schwartz's view on the Danny thing would be that he needs to be able to drink more, when what she has seen, or drink more publicly than what she has seen, is that he behaves like an asshole when he's drunk. And so that comes into play a little later, but she just like doesn't understand this philosophy on Danny that Schwartz has. And then they give us the montage of Danny drunk to show. And I'm like, God damn, he was annoying. He's been annoying for years.
Yeah.
Scenes I didn't even remember.
In like the wig.
The Outlander shit.
Yeah.
Before I knew that he was berating Nia, he was just an annoying drunk no matter what. 3 or 5 times. They have 5 examples of it.
He's really like, he must watch this season back and be like, man, fuck you guys. Like every single episode has a montage of him being annoying. Like they're like, roll the tape, roll the tape. And yeah, Lala's like, the second you have to hide your drinking, it's a problem. And Schwartz is like, yes, but I think they're traumatized from last season because of how much of a storyline it was. And he thinks that Nia was like, you have to be more, you know, inconspicuous and subtle about your drinking, which of course is the most suspicious thing in the world.
Yeah. And then Schwartz says, shit, why we're talking about this, but I gave him carte blanche to go fucking nuts. I said, not only can you drink at my party, but I'm going to make you a filthy martini when you arrive.
Yeah. Gin nonetheless, like hard, like plain alcohol. But hey, I wouldn't turn down a martini myself at a James Bond party. What the fuck else are you going to drink?
I know. Seriously, I would be asking for the Vesper immediately. No, I want that. So I had my first martini with you at BravoCon. I was having the time of my life. No, so I would want to publicly get drunk at this party. So then they're getting ready for this party. Brittany is going to come. Jason and Janet are going to come. This is the party of this season. We
have 2 of the guests are like severely injured, and he has the steepest staircase you could possibly imagine, and they're both hobbling up. Jason, it takes him like forever with his crutches and the handrail to get up, and then he's immediately like, things are getting a little dicey now that more people are here. I think I have to leave. And I'm like, what did you even climb these stairs for? You stayed for 10 minutes.
No, I get it. I think that he didn't want to miss out on a very, very valuable valley hang. And he didn't think about it being 4 flights of stairs. I know it doesn't make any sense, but I know the allure of wanting to be part of it. But I was so sad for him when he goes, I'm scared right now. I think I'm going to get bumped by one of you and you'll ruin.
Why couldn't he just get propped on a couch and like sit in the corner the whole time?
Thank you for saying it first before I could. If this was me and I wanted to be at the 007 party of the year, I would have just sat on the couch and had people pay homage to me.
Yeah, like visit me throughout.
And if I get on camera, fine. If Zach wants to come over and talk to me about something, great. If it's just funny to cut to me at a party, it's funny. Like, this was the wrong decision to leave. But of course, I'm now thinking about being a human being. And I'm like, you're not going to sacrifice your knee recovery and get bumped by Danny when he's drunk off martinis.
True. Yeah. They all mostly end up on the roof anyway. So he would have been alone for like an hour when they're all like, we're going up another flight. He's just like, see you later.
Alone is better. It's funnier. Him being alone on the couch playing with Butters, just being alone, being like, can I turn on your TV, is funny. I was very sad that he left, and he leaves within the edit. He leaves within, I think, 30 seconds of actual screen time, or 1 minute. So it's very crazy. They do it up, though. The Bond aesthetic, you got to give these producers credit and editors. They show the classic collapsing of the gun barrel. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm talking about? What is that?
Yeah, the sight line,
camera. Yeah, sight line. They give
a gun.
Yeah, a sight line of a gun. The music is beautiful. That sort of whatever that. I don't know this fucking Bond shit. I love Bond.
Oh my God, I'm gonna keep sprinkling factoids throughout because I'm so annoying. But, George Lucas and Spielberg were like besties.
Of course.
Back in the day. He goes, what are you going to do next, Stevie? And he goes, I'm trying to get those broccolis to let me do a Bond. That's all I've ever wanted to do. And George Lucas goes, I got better than Bond. His name, Indiana Jones.
It's true.
And the rest is history.
It's amazing. One of the best conversations in film history was them saying, "I got something better than Bond," and it's true. Indiana Jones is so Bond-esque, but in a different type of domain, archaeological stuff. But it's the essence of Bond is there, and some would argue that that franchise is as reputable as the Bond franchise, and is included amongst the some of the biggest cinematic accomplishments.
Well, yeah, especially now because the broccoli's sold out to Amazon, so God knows what comes next for Bond.
Jeff Bezos choosing Bond. I think I'll take a poison pill that Bond would eat. No, thank you. Who's gonna be Bond? The Broccoli's. It's like you denied Spielberg making one of your movies. Who did you want instead to direct it? Like, who the hell was directing the
Mr. Beast?
the Pierce Brosnan? Yeah, you want Mr. Beast's Bond? What the hell is going on with Jeff Bezos? He's like, what about me as Bond? And they're like, no, you're not an actor.
My wife, a Bond girl.
It's like, no, you're not an actor. So
sorry, I skewed us, but I think the only major thing before the party is a little bit more depth on Brittany talking about Brandon. She says that Janet's like, you told me to unfollow him. I complied.
Yep.
She said they got in a huge fight because his ex-wife DM'd her and said that her 4-year-old was like, Mommy, I went to another lady's house with Daddy, and he's FaceTiming with ladies that aren't you or Brittany.
I'm so worried for this time in my life. When this kind of
little
news...
narcs.
Yeah, I'm like, Penny, no, please. No, it's so bad. I mean, it's like, I think quite possibly this will be the last time we even hear of Brandon. It felt very final. It's just too much. I sort of know the way the wind is blowing here. The possibly seeing someone else, all the caretaking shit, and then unfollowing from the friend group. It's like, I think the Brandon era is officially over. And Lala's reaction to hearing about Brandon, there's something very interesting to me about how constantly stunned Lala is by the horrible, horrible fucking men in her friend group. And after Randall, she had to deal with Sandoval and that betrayal. And then now hearing that Brandon was actually asking for money from Brittany, and just her reaction to this, she is just like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, she's just stunned by this
There's
shit.
so many different type of deadbeats. Like, Randall gave her money but sucked, and Brandon not only sucks but takes her money.
Yeah, and I didn't even say Danny. And then she's reckoning later with Jesse, renting an Aston Martin while not being able to pay for health care and shit. She's just like, what the fuck is going on? She says at one point, she's like, men are only good for one thing, making love.
And sometimes not even that.
And sometimes not even that. It's like, holy shit. So, okay, back to the Bond party. Everyone looks great.
Benji's wearing an eye patch. Bert's suit jacket is 5 sizes too big. Schwartz is stressed that his charcuterie, the countertop, isn't up to snuff, and then later lets his dog sit on the charcuterie. He's really, it is kind of sad that he's so self-conscious about his apartment and how it looks and how shitty the party looks. I'm like, it's fine. I mean, last week we went to a party with no furniture, so.
Yeah, I liked it. And Zach was like, fuck me. What am I, at a dentist office? And it's like, Zach, we just saw the party you hosted. I think it was a week ago, my friend. I liked Tom Schwartz's party. I did. I liked it. I liked looking around at it. Benji's dressed as Emilio Largo from Thunderball. I thought he was Blowfish. But he is Emilio Largo from Thunderball. So
yeah, if you want to know more about the alter egos of the Vanderpump cast, go to our Patreon, and there was what was it, Schwartz and Pussy, and Tom Scamanda.
Yeah, those are the two I remember: Schwartz and Pussy. And the other one, they were really good. They they decided to not indulge in that aspect of giving us nicknames for this cast, which I think was nice. I felt like I think it was for the best. So this party has a little bit of where I felt it was too cloistered for a minute, where they were just hovered around the cheese and no one was really saying anything. And I was like, what's happening? And Brittany shows up, and she's having the time of her life. But then eventually little blips start to form of where the conversations get a little more intriguing, I would say. Danny and Nia start to they join, and obviously Janet can barely be in the same room as them and vice versa. Like, they don't really like each other.
Right.
And Schwartz immediately, what do we say about Schwartz now in terms of his like people pleasing stuff? It really comes into play here when he's with Lala. And Lala has talked to him about Danny's drinking. And then Danny goes, you promised me a Vesper martini. And he goes, oh, shit. I did say you can have an all-you-can-drink experience at my house. Let me go get you one. And Lala's like, shit, what are you talking about? We just talked about this. That is, that truly sort of shows Schwartz's character in a way that he is just always trying to appease everyone for the most part, and really ends up letting a lot of people down by always being that mediator. It was kind of a showcase right there in that moment of kind of how Schwartz handles situations.
Yeah, Lala's like, what the fuck? We also get, Zach pitches to the group a birthday trip. He keeps calling it his birthday. And he doesn't really want to share his birthday, but he will share his birthday for the sake of everyone going on the birthday trip. So that's coming up. Brittany, because she's still in like hospice, she wears one of those sweatshirts that she undoubtedly ordered from Mr. Bezos, a tuxedo sweatshirt, but she puts on a red lip to try and compensate. It's very funny. She's like wearing this like big tuxedo sweatshirt and like walking one step at a time. I think it says 4 minutes later is how long it took her to climb the stairs. She was like, it was really a struggle.
I found it to be iconic, her wearing this tux sweatshirt. I didn't think we would ever see this, and I love it. I thought it was so fun. And she finally gets up. Jesse and Michelle have a little thing where they're talking about, is Jesse wearing his wedding tux? Because I know that tux like the back of my hand. And then Michelle is like, I hope he doesn't know that I'm wearing the beautiful ring that he got me around my neck. So they're kind of, this is classic. If this wasn't a reality show, this is like, kind of, I know it's real, but I'm just saying, like, this is like a plot at a dinner party with exes, to where it's like, I'm wearing my wedding ring around my neck. Is he wearing my tux? And he's with his new girlfriend, who he's indulging and being sweet and kissing and stuff. Like, this is an underrated aspect of the Valley, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Jesse and Michelle is underrated, that they're actually having to deal with each other for a prolonged time on this show after divorcing and hating each other.
Yeah, like you can't get away with shit when someone has known you that well. I always think of that clip or moment in It's Complicated where Meryl is going for her eye lift consultation and she runs into Alec Baldwin and his new wife. And he's like, what are you doing here? And she doesn't want anyone to know she's considering plastic surgery. And she goes, dentist. And he goes, you're not seeing Sharon anymore? It's like, you know too much about me. Shut up.
It is so much like It's Complicated. There are thousands of examples from that movie that you could pull in terms of how this dynamic can form. No, it's great, and that doesn't become worth commenting on until later when Jesse tries to have a second scene with Michelle. Brittany is repulsed at the idea that she is so close to Jax's lair. So that's when she's commenting like, this is horrible. He stole my bar stools and stuff like that. And then she does go up to the roof, and the roof is a completely different environment, and a lot more stuff happens once they make their way to the roof. First, Brittany tells everyone about Brandon. We've already talked, you and I have talked a lot about Brandon, so we don't need to say it, but she's letting the entire group know. And Zach's like, I fucking knew about this shit, that Brandon was not going to treat you well, and he's holding back his I told you so's. And then Lala, I mean, she's so good at pushing the story forward, and she doesn't give a shit. She goes, Nia, can I say something about your shitty meal train? And Nia was like, sorry, they could barely even talk about this part of it before they got into the Janet part of it. But I was like, Nia, did you really flop on the meal train? Like, I would have wanted to know much more about that. How many meals did Brittany miss waiting at the door, waiting at the dog door for the meals to come through?
Through the slot.
Through the slot for like
what? In jail.
Did you really, like, why aren't we talking about that? Why are we talking about Janet being excluded and not Nia blowing it? Meal train wise. How many meals did Brittany miss?
I just like show up with one of those like Trader Joe's like microwavable like curry lentils and like flop it through the doggy door or the mailbox.
I didn't. No. Janet's like, I didn't have a bag, and she pushes her spaghetti through it. I did a meal train once, but I had to do the laziest version. I Ubered $100 of Uber, so my wonderful, beautiful family could eat like royalty for the night. I think $100. I'm not tooting my own horn, but I can't. I've never done the like. People wouldn't want to eat my food.
Right. Well, it's hard. It is tricky when you're like, I don't know, like some people like don't eat meat. Some people don't eat dairy. Some people don't like lasagna. Like it's like it at this point in 2026, I think they say Kristen did like an Uber Eats or something. Cause then it's like she could just choose and it'll get dropped off.
That's the new meal train. The train is Uber. The vehicle is Uber. And the food is whatever you'd like.
No. Like if you knew that she's obsessed with Sheena's famous enchiladas, then it's like, I'll drop off the enchiladas. But otherwise.
Yeah. Or I want the Riley mashed potatoes and gravy that I've come to expect every time I come to his home. If I had a specialty that I made well, that everybody coveted and craved, yes, I would be making it. But anyway, it's not. My point was, it's not discussed that Nia fucked up. It's discussed that Janet wasn't a part of it. I still admire Lala bringing this to the table so that we can talk about it because it's worth some conversation. But again, I don't think Nia is truly at fault as much as I think Danny and Nia have been in the wrong a lot this season. I don't think it's her fault that she didn't go out to Janet and think it's more just about their relationship to Danny and Nia now. And they actually have a nice conversation about it before Danny leaves and tells Kristen what's taking place up on the roof. But when you go back to the roof, they actually figure it out on their own. But then Kristen comes up and she's like James Bond when he gets his famous cocktail and he starts to know a bad guy is around. He gets pissed and starts doing stuff. And that's what Kristen is like when she gets back on the roof.
Right. Yeah. So like everything on the roof is going okay. Downstairs, Danny's like, I have to leave the scene because I'm going to get too pissed.
Yeah.
Jasmine gets fired up about it. She goes, well, if you're such perfect Christians, you should have reached out to Brittany after surgery. And he's like, what the hell? And Kristen's like, what the hell is going on here? So then she busts back upstairs, freshly pissed about that, thinking that this whole thing is happening up there. And they're like, we've already resolved it. You know, like Brittany, Kristen says, I think to Jasmine, she goes, Brittany's not paralyzed. She got a mommy makeover. I was like, okay, like, I mean, it is major surgery. Like, damn. Like, I think if and when you ever get a mommy makeover, you would consider it to be debilitating.
Yeah. Well, I was just like, what side is forming? I was like, Kristen is just so staunchly an ally of Danny and Nia that she's making it look like Brittany is going through less. It's like, is that the tact you want to take? Right. But when she gets up, she goes, why would Nia text Janet? She's like, it doesn't make any fucking sense, which I agree with in theory, even if it is for the defense of which I don't understand of Kristen's loyalty to Danny and Nia. But they're like, we've resolved this. And even Lala's like, calm down, Kristen. Which I love little moments of Lala and Kristen because they've been friends for so long. And then Kristen says something that I thought was kind of iconic. When she was fighting with everyone, she goes, they always want the pit bull until the pit bull is not on their side. And she goes, my friends, when they want me as an ally, they want me to be sicked on people, to fight their battles. But when I don't align with what they want, they hate to have me on their or against them, you know? And it's like, that is kind of a funny principle, but unfortunately for everyone, Kristen is aligned and being a pit bull for Danny and Nia, which we don't really understand as an audience.
I know. That's what I've been feeling and expressing about Lindsay Hubbard, where
Yeah.
normally I can't stand her, and recently I've been like, release the hounds.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. It's hard.
go do
Yeah.
what you do.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of hard to know, but just interesting for Kristen to say, I think, to acknowledge her role as that.
Yes.
And then Michelle says a stray comment that she didn't mean to be offensive, but she goes, we resolved this, but somehow Janet is a trigger no matter what. Just her name is a trigger. And she meant that like, it's hard to talk about things with Janet because you all have such an emotional reaction to her. But Janet took it as kind of like, I need to leave now. And that impulse, I have to say, is just not a good impulse as a reality television cast member. And
Right.
I totally understand when cast members feel the need to leave and it feels earned. And I respect that people need to leave. But I don't think Michelle acknowledging that you're a trigger was worth you getting up and having to leave. And I swear, I think that there's maybe 4 times where Janet has left early when a conversation gets above a 5 out of 10. And no matter what I feel about the emotional, like feeling she's having, I just like, there is some merit to a cast member just like staying for a little while. And in this point, 90% of the people were on her side. And even Nia said, Janet, don't go. Nia's not even her friend. And even Nia was like, Michelle didn't mean it like that. You can stay and sit there. Like, something more can happen from this. You don't need to leave right now. And so I think Janet cares about being on the Valley a lot. And I just wish she knew that it's valuable to stay past the point, because you never know what can happen. And actually, she gets to see what can happen because more pivotal scenes happen when she's just sitting at the kitchen on her way out as she's about to leave. What if she had left? We would miss crucial scenes with her. So I just hope that she knows that like there's merit to staying sometimes.
Yeah, it's sort of fourth wall breaky. Like Michelle's like, you can't be the person that storms out every single time. Like you have to just tell people how you're feeling instead of abandoning ship because we are filming. Like we're all together. I think it's something that always comes up when like on Beverly Hills about Dorit and stuff. It's like, we are gathered here to be in a glass case and talk to each other, whether we like it or not. So we must utilize this time to see through our feelings. And if you just leave, it's a waste of time for all of us because you're part of the puzzle.
Yes. And it's hard. It's hard to say because sometimes walkouts are earned. Like, and I understand. And sometimes they could be iconic, but most of the times they're not because we want to see the fallout from the circumstances.
That's the thing. Hers are always so premature and not worth it. Like if everyone's like truly ganging up on you and like making you cry and you're like, this is abuse, I'm out of here or whatever. But hers are always like, she preempts. So it's annoying. So she goes downstairs, but little did she know that Luke still hates her guts and was ready to start shit in the kitchen. And he sort of tries to chime in like, I think they're still hurt from everything last year. And he's like, I think he says, like, what did they even do to you? And she's like, what do you mean? Like, they liked all that shit on Instagram and, like, they show that Bravo breaking news thing that Danny added to his story. I thought he just liked it, but he added it to his story.
Bravo breaking news, you made Danny so happy for that week that appeared. Also, she goes, they made me look like a snake with a snake head. And I was like, is that Voldemort thing? Like, I didn't see you with a snake head. Are you talking about Voldemort? I think even Drunk Drawn, who we all love, painted you as Voldemort. I didn't remember Snakehead Instagram, but she's pulling examples.
At what point will Drunk Drawn be mentioned at a reunion? It's coming.
Yeah.
All Bravo stars are aware every week.
It's definitely coming. And Luke is pushing back harder than he's ever pushed back. And it's unfortunate that it's in defense of Danny and Nia, I will say. And I feel like there's some merit to Janet saying that Danny like is awful when he's drunk and has done horrible things. I mean, there's just no excuse for grabbing ass and saying, get daddy a drink. I'm like, my God. So you don't want to be the person that is on the other side of that, even though Luke is now being vocal and arguing with Janet. But I'm like, I don't know, what are we debating here truly? And Janet is like,
Yeah.
I use those terms and I feel bad for Nia, but I'm not apologizing to Danny. He made people uncomfortable. So Luke is kind of fighting a losing battle in a way. And he goes, you weren't there. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And that's when she gives her iconic Charles Manson line.
Right. Yeah. Like, did you need to see what Charles Manson did to know that he's a psychopath? And he goes, so now you're calling Danny a psychopath? So his argument really fails here because I'm fine with, whatever, if you want to quibble on the nomenclature that she used, whether it was too intense or like had legal ramifications or whatever. But then he starts calling the event itself into question, saying, you weren't there, you didn't see it. But then at the same time, he says, Jasmine was the victim. And I'm like, the victim of what?
Right.
What she said.
Yeah, I know. It's like, no, come on. Like no one is going to root for the person that actively grabbed ass. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Like,
it's like you can complain about the way she went about calling him out, but to pretend that it's not valid or didn't happen the way she's saying invalidates Jasmine's. Who you are saying is a victim. So I'm like, why would you invalidate the event that Jasmine's a victim of?
Yeah, that's why it's just hard to wrap my mind around Kristen and Luke being such staunch allies of Danny and Nia. Despite this, grabbing ass and shit. Like, has Nia ever talked about him grabbing other castmates' ass and other people at the bar? I'm like, what the hell is going on? So again, the messenger, we were mad at the messenger when it was Janet last season, and it's hard to sometimes be critical of Janet while also validating what she's bringing to the table. That's kind of like the nuance here. But like, Kristen and Luke are ultimately fighting a losing battle by protecting Danny and Nia, in my opinion. And so Janet, I think, has that sort of moral superiority here where she's like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? Like, I didn't say anything wrong. I said the truth. And she's, she's almost becoming an outcast, for it in a way on this show.
Right. And also, I mean, sucks for her that also now Jason is injured, because I feel like that will hold her back. Like, who knows what's going to happen with Mexico. I didn't, in the preview, do they go?
Oh, Jason said that he wasn't in the trailer very much. And so I don't think there's any scenes to show us. I'm imagining that he would go. I wish I could give him advice in the past. Just go. Be the funny guy who sits in a chair and has his leg in a thing. What are those called? In
but
bandages.
Like the airport on crutches, like that blows.
Yeah,
so
you're right. You're right.
We'll see.
It would be hard to imagine a world in which he did go post operation.
Right. So that, would she go without him? I don't know. We'll see. And then we get this flop ass Jesse Michelle thing where he's like, can I talk to you for a second? And I thought it was going to be about her necklace, because he makes a comment about how he wanted that money to go towards Isabella's trust or something. And so I thought he was going to bitch at her about her being sneaky and making a necklace out of her ring. But instead he goes, well, we made up a few weeks ago, and then I heard from Lala that you said that you're happy to be out of a toxic situation. So which is it? And she's like, I am happy to be out of a toxic situation. Plus, I'm sad about it. Like, what don't you fucking get? Like, are you questioning if I'm sad about the divorce? I am sad about the divorce. And he's like, okay.
Yeah, and then she starts crying as she talks about it, because she's like, what the hell are we talking about here? And like, it's completely undercuts that beautiful scene that they already had. It was just so lame of Jesse to need to like call her out at this point. And then Michelle is amazing. Like, for the next 4 minutes, like, I loved seeing her sort of real, genuine emotional reaction to this, because she's like, you never treated me this way. It's hard for me to see you do this with Lacey, kissing her and hugging her, all the shit and affection that you never gave to me. So she gets up, and you can tell Jesse's bummed. Like, he's like, fuck, I blew it with that one. He's like, I did not mean to make you cry. And then she's going out. She's like, I think I need to leave now. And Schwartz kind of has a silly moment where he's like, oh, what are you doing here? Crying? Bawling your eyes out? And he turns on the light, and he goes, oh my God, you are crying. You know, I'm so sorry. And she goes, yeah, it's hard for me to see Jesse and Lacey. You know, he was not affectionate with me. And Schwartz says, that's the realest thing you've ever said to me. Give me a hug. And he gives her a really sweet hug. And I was like, God damn, this is
unlikely friendship.
A beautiful moment at the end of this episode. I was like, I am sold on 007 Party. I thought it was awesome, especially for that ending.
Yeah, I'm excited that we're getting. I think Mexico is perfectly timed. I'm ready. I think the show needs a change of scenery. Brittany shows up. I think her drains are out, but she's still in bandages. She's like, I'm swollen as hell, y'all, but I'm doing good. And so she's like bikini ready, but with large bandages across her body. And then Danny is annoying again.
I think I'm like, you saying is Jason out there? I'm like, I'm sure Janet goes, because isn't there reactions of her seeing Danny's behavior again and being like, what you're like, Danny is drunk again. I'm like, but now
I know they showed Lala being like, dear God.
Maybe Janet doesn't go in solidarity with Jason. I don't know, but I think you're totally right. I'm always ready for a cast trip, and I'm so excited for Mexico. So let's stop talking about the Valley. We've been talking about it for an hour and 20 minutes, which is, I cannot believe it. Let's you and I take a little bit of a break, collect our thoughts, and then we're going to come back and talk about the Real Housewives of Rhode Island for 25 minutes or so.
Okay.
Well, Amy, this has been a long episode, but I think we should stay clam and carry on.
You know, I got a tickle out of that title.
Yeah, I was laughing. I was going to have trouble talking about this episode, thinking about the title the entire time. You'll be interested to hear this. I thought, what a bland title. How boring. I go, stay calm and carry on. And then I go, wait, what the hell does that say? Clam? And it immediately opened the floodgates of laughter. So,
yeah, they like forced them to go clamming just so that they could call it Keep Clam and Carry On.
They really went clamming.
But they didn't get a single clam.
Well, it's probably hard. Clam hunters are underrated when you think about it. I was expecting them to. I was really expecting them to dig up a few clams, but not one. So it would have helped to have an experienced clam hunter there. When I wanted to say this before we start talking about it, I was thinking when they say that this is the penultimate episode at the end, and they go, season finale next week. I was like, what the hell? I was like, you and I have been talking about Rhode Island for 11 episodes. Like, it's kind of ripped by like a Rhode Island train.
Yeah.
And it was like episode 11 with a finale coming. I think that this is a mark of good quality that I could keep talking about and experiencing, and also just how quickly it's gone by. The opposite of a slog for me, in my opinion. That we're already at the end here.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a little bit of an abbreviated season, but if it's 12 and then, do you think it'll be 2-part reunion?
Yes, I don't think they'll honor the clam holders with 3 parts. The first one, we don't go there that quickly. I'm guessing 2 parts for sure.
Yeah. So 14 total. That's shorter than usual, but for a first season, usually is shorter.
Yeah, and it's a success. I mean, there's just no way. Like it's gone viral a lot. Alicia, everybody loves her. I think Andy is tickled like a clam that this show exists. So it makes sense that they didn't know that going into it and filmed a shortened season, but they are coming back. I mean, everybody fucking loved it.
Yeah, totally. So one of our last recaps before the finale and the reunion, so we must enjoy it. It picks up exactly where it left off when Joellen and Liz had that standoff meetup, and Joellen's driving away, and she calls Alicia to tell her how poorly it went and how she couldn't get a word in, and how, Liz is a psycho. Basically, it was not fruitful. So.
No, it wasn't fruitful at all. It was the opposite. No, and Alicia's kind of in Joe Ellen's corner, being like, Liz sucks. Can you believe what you said about me? And it's fine that, there's an alliance here between Joe Ellen and Alicia against Liz, which comes into play, a little later at the beautiful Arabian Nights party that Rula hosts.
Exactly. She comes up with that idea while getting her toenail worked on by her podiatrist husband. She, I don't know, she said it got caught. It's like graphic, but she ripped her toenail off and he's helping her with it. And my foot is like, I'm squirming thinking about it. It's like the worst thing you can imagine.
I know. I won't even get personal here, but I feel you, Rula. This is one of the worst things. Thank God you've got Brian. Not for the cheating, but for this kind of toe stuff that he can do. I got to say, Brian is so funny to me whenever he's on camera post being exposed as having a mistress. He acts so like he's like cute and giggly and fun. He's like, thanks for coming. Let me look at your toes. Like, you're the cutest wife I've ever had in my life. And it's so funny to watch him, who he didn't seem at all fun at the start, and then now he's really trying to, I think, paint a picture of him being this like cute, silly guy. And it really comes into play a lot of times this episode, especially when he starts the belly dancing routine that he does. Yeah. I was like, I've never seen someone dance with a belly dancer like this. It was rhythmically, he was doing something that I've never seen before. It's like he's just so clearly trying to adopt a new kind of pose here for the cameras.
Yeah, if you didn't know anything else, there are scenes between them where you're like, I don't know, they seem like they like each other. They seem happy, but underneath it's like horrible. And he's like arrested by next week.
I need to retain that in my mind, that Brian was arrested. I keep forgetting about it. I'm like, he was arrested? What the hell? Like, so that's going to be a big part coming up of this, that Brian was arrested. Okay.
Because this week he's like, let's have an end of summer bash. Here's a Band-Aid for your toe. And things seem just fine. We also get Ashley and Jared really talking about the fate of Audrey's, whether it would be more financially sound to shutter it than to continue. Their lease is almost up. He wants to keep it open a little longer because he has some reservations for wedding after parties. Mm-hmm. She's sort of like, fuck them. It's not their actual wedding. They can go somewhere else. I was like, damn, cold-blooded.
I go, damn, Ashley, what the hell? She's like, yeah, fuck them. I was like, are you I was like, I want to see these after parties at Audrey's. Like, that would be so cool. I love Jared and Ashley. I'm like smitten. Like, I don't even know what to say. I'm like, I love these two people. Like, I think Jared is nice, and I don't know him at all or whatever, but I love the drama of Audrey's. I think they have a kind of a sweet relationship. I don't know. They're kind of like a new type of energy that I haven't seen in a while, and I can watch them almost talk about anything. I'm probably not a lot of people feel this way, but I don't know why. I'm like, I love Jared and Ashley. And he starts the scene by they don't have a can opener. So he's going fucking nuts. An accident waiting to happen.
Nightmare.
I was like, Jared, you don't do that at Audrey's, do you? He's like, I need to open up a can of tomatoes. And he's fucking putting a huge knife in the thing. It was so dangerous. Ashley's dad was like, stop it, Jared.
No, it was psychotic. I'm like, aren't you a restaurant proprietor? You don't have a can opener, and then you're slicing tomatoes for tacos like sandwich style. Like, get it together.
I go, Jared, I love you, but what the hell is going on with this tomato slicing? I mean, maybe he gave the can opener to Audrey's. His home is also Audrey's, so he relinquished his can opener.
I almost feel like they should have a different show. Like, it feels like almost like TLC, like home life, like innocent, sort of like goofy. We're a young family hijinks, not housewives. Like, she's not very valuable in the mix of the women. Like,
yes.
Name a scene where she really played a pivotal part this whole time with the other women.
She's one of the most removed audience surrogates I think we've ever had. And I agree completely with that sensibility that you're talking about. My hope is that Ashley more naturally starts to fit in with this group and make friendships, because I personally enjoy seeing this on Rhode Island. But you're right, it's not good in terms of housewives interactions and what we're used to seeing. So I have to sort of like admit that I'm liking them for a different facet of what they're bringing and not really her dynamic with the other cast members. It's kind of shocking that she's only really made a friendship with Rosie, which I've already said before, that's like not a clear best friend situation. It seems like they're just more aligned, than anything. So my hope is that Ashley and Jared get another chance. I want them to have one more chance, and hopefully Ashley can like make friends with more people and get in the mix a little more.
Yeah. If not, maybe they could get a spinoff, and then Brian could be one of the doctors on that show, My Feet Are Killing Me, which is sort of a Dr. Pimple Popper show, but with nasty feet conundrums.
And you've expressed your fondness for pimples. Sorry, Dr. Poppers. Do you like foot? You said you don't like feet, but do you like gross feet getting rectified?
I think it's really interesting the state that so many people's feet are in. Like, you'd be horrified what people come in there with. Like, I've been wearing the same pair of socks for 14 years, and you're like, pardon?
Yeah, no, pardon. No, people don't think about their feet as much. I've had people who reveal themselves at the beach and they've got literal hobbit feet, and I'm like, what the hell happened? I was like, I love hobbits and Lord of the Rings, but your feet look very hobbit-esque, filled with hair no, yeah, I think we need to worship our feet a little more. There's a what's that called? There's a middle ground here of how we should care about our feet. Wait, so are you saying? Okay, so you want Ashley and Jared on a different show, which I have to say is probably, I don't know if they're getting a full spinoff dedicated to them. And then is Brian also getting a spinoff so that he is not involved on Rhode Island? Also, I think Brian has to stay. I think Brian has to stay with Rula. This is the first time. So I do not like how Rula handled her appearance on this show by isolating herself and only having one-on-one scenes. And I hate that she has this grudge against Joellen that's causing her to not invite her to parties. But I saw merit more to Rula and Brian now when they bring people over for the Arabian Nights party. So I think that Rhode Island was good. So you don't mess with anything now and try it again for the second season. I wouldn't make any drastic tweaks like that. I wouldn't even add a new cast member, to be honest. There's going to be so much fallout from this season already with how they hate each other or like each other that you just kind of build off this for the second season. So I wouldn't make any tweaks if I was Bravo.
Yeah, I think that does sound good. I wonder how much in the next scene Dolores is with Liz, because there's still a twosome, and I wonder if Dolores will still, I mean, I guess why not as a friend of just have her come in, but so far there hasn't been any major value add in my opinion. I like her, but like,
I agree completely. Like, let's just be aligned turtle time wise. it's the promise of Dolores. It was so overstated what she would be bringing to Rhode Island, and maybe they felt like they didn't need her at a certain point, or she wants to designate herself as a friend of, to where she doesn't get in the mix. She's more of a figure that you can come to, for advice. But yeah, I almost forget that Dolores is on this show at all.
Yeah.
So it kind of leads to the State House meeting, and it's really, really beautiful what they're able to get done here.
Yeah, I mean, God bless them. A worthy cause. They are getting menopausal women to be seen as a protected class, so they can't be discriminated against at work, which is great. And obviously they wanted to feature it on the show to bring awareness. But it's not particularly interesting of a scene, except that it was the Rhode Island State House, which is where they filmed the now classic film Ella McKay, despite them not revealing what state she is the governor of.
But that's where they filmed it. So,
yes.
So you could almost imagine it is possibly Rhode Island. Oh my God. I was wondering why you wrote Ella McKay, Ella McKay, Ella McKay over and over in your notes. Now it makes complete sense. Holy shit. Well, that's definitely thrilling. And I thought this was, it was wonderful. And it ties into their menopause gummies that they were also talking about 3 episodes ago.
Yes. We also get a scene that there's not much going on. It's Alicia and Rosie, and they're chatting while decorating those Jeep ducks, because Rosie has a Jeep, and there's this thing where if you see another Jeep, you give a rubber ducky to the other Jeep so that they know that a Jeep owner was nigh.
Yeah, I was talking about this with Megan, and she goes, "Now that you know Jeep ducks, you'll see them everywhere." And I had never heard of this concept at all before. What is that philosophy that when you know something, you see them all the time? We've talked about that with buzzballs.
Right.
Like, that is one of the truest philosophies in all of humanity. Like, once you talk about something once, then you see it everywhere. And so I'm going to start taking a deep, long look at these ducks on these Jeeps. And Alicia is reiterating that she has problems with Liz.
Yes. As we know, and as she will resolve at the Arabian Nights party, where this almost feels like a finale party in a way.
I know. Maybe they were like, no, we've got some gold here. Like, let's tack on a little bit more or resolve more on a boat. But this had finale party energy. I have to say that this Arabian Nights party went a lot better than the one that I hosted a year ago. This was a good one.
It honestly did look like a good party. Like, everyone came dressed up. There were genie pants. There were head jewelry. There was all kinds of stuff. And Rula and Brian, they are keeping it together. Even through when shit comes up, they keep it together, and they're like, moving on.
There was a lot of sexual chemistry. Like, I'll just say it now. When Brian was dancing with the belly dancer, he was looking at Rula and kind of implying, like, do you see me dance? Do you see me dance? And then when she did the wings of light, or were they those beautiful lit wings, she was dancing, and it was to an audience of one. Brian.
Yeah. What was remember when Muhammad Hadid had that crazy party? Was it for like Pandy, or who? He was throwing it for, like, it was like he was doing it as a favor for someone in the group. And that's where, like, Kyle did the splits in that pillow room, and like Mauricio's like, where's the secret, like, sex room? Like, I need to watch that shit again. Those were the good days.
They were so happy to be at that party. People were just flipping out. No, that's one of the best parties in Bravo history. I'm glad.
I think there's a camel.
Oh my God. I'm glad you reminded me of that. I need to go back and watch that too. So no, this party, I mean, holy shit. It was okay.
I mean, this party, no one can compete with Muhammad Hadid, but
Joellen has to say one thing. She goes, because she wasn't invited, she goes, an Arabian Nights party. Who does Rula think she is? Jasmine from Aladdin? Oh, Genie, make Brian not cheat on me. I was like, whoa. I was like, that was terrible. You didn't have to keep that in. Are you trying to embarrass Joellen? That was horrible. A horrible confessional joke. I don't know what the hell she was thinking with that one.
The genie's out of the bottle at this party. I'll just say that. So we get, the thing that is meant to happen here is that Liz and Alicia will reconcile, and Kelsey and Rosie will reconcile. The Liz and Alicia one feels, while a little bit brief, genuine. Like, they are such long-standing friends that I think both of them don't want to have a feud. So even though they don't really get into it, they sort of get to an acceptable place. Whereas with Rosie and Alicia, I was like, that was worthless what happened between you two.
Yeah, I thought so too. The exact same thing. I thought Liz's apology was very good. And she's already said all of these things before, but it just helps that Alicia went up to her. She hates, like, having some, like, negative energy in her life. So she went up to Liz specifically to have this conversation. And I thought Liz's apology was actually good. I don't think it'll be for the long haul. I think Alicia will still start to think about this more and realize that was horrible what Liz did. But for now, they got to a good place. But I have to say about Rosie and Kelsey, I felt like Kelsey's apology was fine too, given the offense. I am sorry that I did the house police joke. You were very offended by it and didn't think it was funny. I'm sorry. So Rosie goes, that's the worst apology I've ever heard in my life. Fuck this person. I'll pretend now, but it's still on between us. And at a certain point, think we need to talk about the concept of apologies in general. Like, they are all either completely worthless or they are all worthwhile. And there's no, you can say anything about any of them. The caveat of but, and we're like, no, okay, we say that's not an apology because I said but, or if I made you feel that way. It's like we've established a lot of rules about apologies, but I think that they're still in a very nebulous area. And the Kelsey Rosie one really epitomized that. I was like, that was fine. It was an apology. Just take it as one. But Rosie's like, no, it's fucking on harder than you've ever known. And what I see in the future is that Rosie and Kelsey are going to be able to get over this and become wonderful friends. So I'm just like waiting for it to happen. Like, get over this.
I did like that their boyfriends / husband sort of was like, come on, like, we can get through this.
But do you agree with me about apologies of like the ranking of them and like what if they're worthwhile versus not? Like, we saw 2 of them and we accept one and I accepted the other. They're all saying the same thing, but at a certain point, people don't care if you apologize, if they're really aggrieved.
Sometimes it is semantics, and I think it's more like the spirit of the apology. If someone has a gun to their head while they do it and they really are just doing it to get through the, to point B, then I think it's harder to accept because you're literally being forced to do this and you don't mean it. So I think it depends because, I agree that she was like, Kelsey said, I made a joke. It was probably too early to joke. Like I skipped a step on that one. And I was like, like, that's fair. And it wasn't that big of a deal in the first place. So I think Rosie just didn't like her and wasn't ready for an apology. But maybe later. Although I have a feeling they're going to like pop off at the reunion. Like, I have a feeling that they're going to be like head to head at the reunion.
I think they will too. I think we have to suffer through more of them being primary antagonists with each other. But I'm just saying, like, I see a friendship. Like, it's just so easily imagine them becoming friends. And I'm like, it'll be interesting when we get to that point. I think we will. I think that the one thing people will say is that obviously actions, and how they proceed going forward, if they honor that, is the most important part of it. But I just thought it was interesting that we saw 2 apologies. One is just not taken at all at face value. But a lot of resolution, at least. Because Ashley acknowledges how divided this cast was, but then we end up with 2 factions apologizing to each other to try to move forward, before the final episode.
And then so the finale of this episode is supposed to be, I think, was meant to be a blow up of Rosie bringing up this mistress video that they all talked about in Newport, and she brings it up to Rula. Alicia's like, fuck, like, she didn't tell me she was going to bring this up because she's been ruminating on whether or not she was going to share it with Rula herself, and she never did. And Rosie's like, I have to tell you, we all talked about it in Newport. It's really bad. You don't even want to know. There's this like blonde woman. He's hugging and kissing. And Rula to Alicia is like, why didn't you tell me this? And she's like, I felt really weird about it. And I didn't want to know. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I didn't even want to know about it. It's like horrible. And she takes it with stride. And then Brian joins. And because I think in her confessional, she's like, I'll have to use my own sources to verify because, she's like, what is this with the date? And like, how do we know it's real? Blah, blah, blah. Brian walks up and you're like, oh shit, this is about to get gnarly. And he's sort of like, he goes, you could change the timestamp. I trust Joellen about as much as I trust gas station sushi. He's like, enough from Ho Ellen. And then Alicia's like, can we do a shot? And they're like, yeah, let's go do a shot. It's over.
Yeah, no. Yeah, Brian walked right in to that while they were talking about it. I could not believe he said Ho Ellen. And then he coughs. He goes, excuse me, I got something in my throat. I meant Joe Ellen. But I was like, it's so clear you called her Ho Ellen. And I don't know about the timestamp shit. It reminds me of like James on Vanderpump Rules and got busted in bed and him being like, oh yeah, you can edit photos all the time. It's like, oh, I don't know. Like, really? Like, at some point, I'm excited for him to actually account for this because he's got Rula, who is now aligned with Brian, thinking that everyone is making shit up about them to stir the pot or whatever. But at a certain
Yeah.
point, I think she's going to have to acknowledge that some of this evidence is probably true.
Have we talked about that? Speaking of James and the timestamp, remember Gigi, who was the one that that took the photo of him? She's like dating the founder of Google. Like she's like a tech bride now.
Tech bride? Gigi? My friend Gigi from Vanderpump Rules season 4? Wow.
Like she's like
no
with one of like the
way.
richest people in the universe.
Which one of the wonderful Google founders?
Let me see. Hold on.
I forget their names. Sergey Brin?
Gerlin Gilbert Soto.
Oh, of course. Carolyn Gilbert Soto. Okay. All right. Well, wow. No, I did not know that at all. Gigi. Wow. That's great. Or, you know, or I don't know if people think that's
I think
bad.
he's like in a dark underbelly. It's like a dark-seated world she's in, but interesting nevertheless.
He's Google's founder?
I believe so. And I think he's like in like a MAGA world, like MAGA Silicon Valley, like the like depths of humanity.
Gigi from Vanderpump Rules. Oh my God. Okay, I'm so. Speaking of the James timestamp, which leads us back to the timestamp in which Brian was casting aspersions to. No, you're right. Brian and Rula get out of this one. Rula has her ears closed to this. And she doesn't trust the messenger, Rosie. So she starts she starts going up to the belly dancer. Brian, they get out of it, and then they toast to friendship. You're kind of right. Now that you said that this was supposed to be a finale, it kind of makes a lot of sense. The way they go, we're trauma bonded, but take a photo, baby. And
Bitches love summer.
Yeah.
To summer.
To Sama. Yeah, bitches love Sama. And yeah, you're right. It could have been the moment where this just ended. And then you could see those title cards. I didn't even think about that, actually. But it has like sort of a climactic ending. But then no, we need to go to Potter's Cove.
Right.
And dig for clams. Okay, here's what I'll say. I think that now that you gave that new theory, I think it's so true, because I thought the end of this episode actually kind of sucked, because all they did was just restate all the feuds again and teed up Joe Ellen versus Liz, which I guess is the last lingering one, and it was way too much. They gave them their own solo scenes just to talk about that again, and even did a montage of their like history, which we know because it's been so recent. So that might mean that they wanted to just tee up one last confrontation and added an episode to it to make it completely revolved around that.
Yeah, they added a one-night cast trip to Block Island.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's what it's called. And so I think they needed one more crazy thing.
Yeah. So that leads us, that's okay. So Block Island next week, rough seas. So tell me, Brian, they talk about the Brian tape again too next week. Now we can get Rula actually commenting on it, I'm sure, because they didn't like her initial response to it.
Right. Yeah. And then his mugshot will be featured. I wonder if it'll be an addendum, because that happened like recently. So we'll see, but it's interesting, and hopefully them all being in one place with the husbands and everyone crammed together will have fruits.
Oh, let's hope it yields fruit. And who's your favorite clam holder husband so far?
I mean, I gotta give it to Rich. Like after both him performing and then him being a peacemaker, I was like, he seems nice. And the family beach day where they're all like, we love you, Rosie. I was like, he seems like a good time guy.
I don't know why he was not in my rankings. No, Rich is by far one of the coolest people I've ever seen. And Rich and Jared are tied for me as the clam husbands. I love them so much. And I want to get to know the other ones too. But I am very happy with Rhode Island. I just think it's fun. I love this cast. I cannot believe that this is a first season. They're usually such shit. And I'm proud of them all. So I can't wait for the finale. We'll have a special episode dedicated to that, and I'm in awe of these clams.
Me too. Yeah. There's there's going to be a mugshot and a rest next week, but there's a levity to it that is nice because Housewives overall has, generally speaking, gotten kind of dark. And that's why things have needed to be rebooted because it's just like got nasty in a lot of places. And this feels like a breath of fresh air. Like it has no baggage, like it's just fun.
Yeah, it's the most reminiscent, I would say, of Salt Lake City, where they keep a lighter tone throughout and try to make it as fun as possible. So anyway, well, Amy and I, Villa Rosa VIPs and Little Turtle Cuties, we have to go now. We're going to talk about Atlanta next week, but so hold tight. Think about what our takes might be on Atlanta. That could be an interesting thought experiment. Imagine what we thought of Atlanta and let it happen in your head. But other than that, we got to go. If you like this episode, we love our comments on YouTube and all those other sites. And gas us up. We love you so much. Amy, anything else you want to say before we say goodbye?
No. But if you want to compare this week's Schwartz 007 party to his old 007 party, join us on Patreon. Hear us talk about it there on season 9. But yeah, we'll be back next week. Just chugging along.
Chugga, 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 chugga. Also, Villa Rosa Film Society, we just put out our options for July. Everyone's going to be happy. You need to vote right now. Pay $10 and vote on either Lord of the Rings, Two Towers, Terms of Endearment, or The Banshees of Inisherin. There's already there's a huge conversation happening on that post right now. So I'm very excited for the Villa Rosa Film Society in the future. But we love you all so much. We'll be back next week. Thank you all so much for listening. Goodbye.
Oh, yeah. Bye.